Hey guys, Kevin Yates here, Stronger Over 50. So just want to share some of the things that I've learned over the past several months. I've been on this mission to lose fat and build muscle. And, a lot of times the biggest challenges for us, if you're, over 30, over 40, or like me, over 50, the biggest challenges sometimes are how to eat when we've got a million things going on. If you've got family and kids and work and project deadlines and all these things that are going on. And on top of that, as we get older, in our 30s and 40s and 50s, like our bodies just don't work like they did back when we were teenagers or in our 20s. We don't recover as fast. We can't get away with eating the same stuff that we used to, and it takes a different approach than just a simple calories in versus calories out, or, just cutting carbs or eating low fat, or, things like this. So just wanted to share some of the things that I've learned over the past several months about how to eat to lose fat and build muscle in your 50s and beyond. So first thing is to get the foundation in place, is what I call it. And what I'm talking about is, before we start looking at, how many calories do we need to eat, or how many grams of carbs do we need, how much fat, how much protein, a lot of times we get caught up in the numbers. And really, I think the most important thing, especially when we're starting out, if you've got a lot of body fat to lose, like I know for me, my body fat was up there in the 20%, somewhere around there. And, if you're nowhere near like under 12% or so, just working on getting the foundation in place before worrying about getting all the numbers to match up, I think is the most important thing. So it's really a matter of like quality over quantity, meaning that if you just focus on getting good quality foods, get the best quality that you can, with what you can do. But if you prioritize the quality, first and foremost, and get that foundation in place, you'd be surprised with the progress that you can make and the results that you can get. You can definitely lose fat, start to lean down, you lose some weight, and you can build muscle just by focusing on getting higher quality foods in your diet. So, getting a good quality source of protein in there throughout the day, getting your healthy fats in there, and yeah, carbohydrates have their place as well. But again, look at the quality versus just the quantity. Don't get caught up in the numbers game and how much am I eating, but rather, look at the quality of it. Obviously, a candy bar or a soda is not going to be anywhere as good as maybe some fruits or some vegetables or some, potatoes or some oats or, some rice or something like that. So get the quality in there, focus on the high quality foods. Second thing is prioritizing gut health and digestion. And this is a big one, especially as we get older. It's almost like when we get in our 30s, like our metabolism starts to change, we start to lose muscle faster, we can lose strength faster, our metabolism starts to slow down if we don't take care of the right things. And so, it means like taking care of our digestion and our gut health is the most important thing, because really it doesn't matter how many calories you eat or carbs or, what you're putting in your diet or how you're trying to manipulate it, intermittent fasting or doing all these things. If your gut isn't working right. And this is something that I had to learn. Like I struggled with it for a very long time, for a lot of years, because, I had gut health issues years and years ago. And in the beginning, like I was able, to work with it. But again, I had to build it around quality foods, and, I really had to do some work on it. And then more recently, it's like, there was just some really bad kind of issues that I had with my gut health. And no matter what I tried to do, it didn't matter, what supplements I took. It didn't matter how many times I tried fasting, or if I tried low carbs or changing my fat around or my protein, or it didn't matter. Trying to train more, do more cardio. Like I would make some progress, but I always hit this wall where I couldn't go any further. It's like I would get stuck at the same point every time. And it was just because my digestion and my gut health was not good. And so my body wasn't able to process the foods I was eating very well. So, that was a big lesson that I had to learn. Without gut health, like you're just going to be getting a fraction of the results. I describe it best as it felt like I was having to work out twice as hard as most people were to get a fraction of the results. And, you know, it took me a long time to figure out that there was nothing really wrong with me, quote unquote, but there was something wrong with my gut and my digestive health. And I had to get that fixed and focus on that first and foremost, you know, and since then it's like now, you know, I'm down, what, 27 pounds, 26, somewhere around in there, you know, by now. So some of the things that you can do though is to, you know, decrease the foods that cause inflammation. So get the inflammatory foods out as much as possible. Obviously processed foods, sugars, those are some key things that you want to get rid of as much as possible. And, you know, yeah, we want to live life, and sometimes, you know, we can still enjoy those things, but, you know, by and large, it's like minimizing consumption of those, get rid of those where you can, because it'll do a world of good and you'll notice a huge difference. So the other things are kind of like monitoring for signs, right? The signs that something is wrong with your digestive system, you're not digesting food good, your gut health might be off, are obviously things like bloating. So typically this will happen within an hour or so. It could be as little as like 30 minutes, you know, after you eat, but typically within about an hour or so, you will notice. If you notice like bloating in your stomach, if you notice that you're tired, right? Your energy, it just feels like you're drained. If you have like brain fog, right? Or if your mood changes, all of a sudden you're just like, you know, more irritable, or your mood just drops, you know, things like that. Or maybe you're kind of in a bad mood. Just monitor for those things and track it back to what you just ate within the last hour. And, you know, you can test some things out, obviously, if you're eating more than just one thing, but that'll give you a good indicator that what you had at that point, your body's just not digesting it well. So then it makes it easy to know some of the things or some of the foods that you should be avoiding. All right, number 3 is having go-to meals, you know, / snacks. You know, and this is just stuff that, you know, it's very difficult to have a lot of time in the kitchen to be prepping and cooking. Like, you know, if we're busy, right? You know, you're probably working a lot of hours. If you have a long commute to and from work, you're juggling probably, you know, having business meetings and project deadlines and these things that happen, and, you know, are working long hours. And then on top of that, when you're not working, then you've got family stuff to do. And you don't want to have to sacrifice family time or work time in order to, you know, be prepping food in the kitchen, because it's just not realistic, nor is it fun. So having some go-to meals can be a big help. You know, and go-to meals are just those things that they're very simple and easy to do. There's very minimal to no cooking involved, and you can just grab them on the go, right? Because, you know, the last thing you want to do is like be in a rush, like in the morning to get to work, and you grab a cup of coffee because you don't have time to eat anything or make anything. And then, you know, you're drinking coffee all morning. And then by the time lunch hits, you're starving. And then you're very susceptible, because you're so hungry, to be eating the wrong foods, making bad choices, eating the stuff that's around the office that you're not supposed to eat, or going to like, you know, business lunches or things like that, and eating stuff that, you know, you're just eating because you're hungry, but it may not be the best choice. So, you know, some quick ideas. Think about things you can do. Some of the things I like to do are making like Greek yogurt with some blueberries in it. Just dumping like some frozen blueberries in there. Takes just like literally about a minute to make it, if that, and take it and go. Or like protein, quote unquote, Rice Krispies, where I just take some puffed rice and dump it in with some oat milk and put some protein powder in that. And I'll even put like a scoop of powdered peanut butter powder in there. And it's amazing. It's really, really good. And it just helps to have something quick on the go. And it just, like I said, it takes within a minute or so to make. Very easy to do. So, you know, there is always a way that we can still eat well. We can still stay on track with losing fat and building muscle, you know, even on a very busy and hectic schedule. Okay, number 4 is to build your nutrition around protein, first and foremost, right? So, you know, again, get the foundation right. Don't worry so much about the numbers, but, you know, make sure that you've got at least a serving or 2 of protein in your meal. And it's almost like you think about that first, have that, you know, and build the rest of your meal around that. So you build your fats around that, and then, you know, your carbs around that. But always kind of lead with the protein. And the reason why is because protein has what we call a high thermic effect. And meaning that, you know, when we eat protein, it makes our digestive system have to work harder. So our digestive system has to burn more calories just to digest the protein. So in a way, it ramps up our digestive system, which speeds up our metabolism, which kind of makes it burn more, process more nutrients, and kickstarts things that way, because, you know, we have to have a healthy metabolism if we want to lose fat. And also if you want to build muscle, right? You want your metabolism to be like ramped up so it's processing what you're eating and getting nutrients into your body, into your muscles, and where you need it the most. Proteins also, you know, obviously it's needed to build muscle. If we don't eat enough protein, then we're not going to have the building blocks to build muscle, no matter how hard or how often we're training. And, you know, protein is a bit less likely to be stored as fat. Now, if we go crazy on it and eat more than our body can use, yeah, we still can gain fat. But again, because it has such a high thermic effect, and, you know, our body burns about 30% or up to 30% of the calories we eat from protein just in the process of digesting it. So for example, if you ate 100 grams of protein, you know, about or up to 30 grams of that would be burned just in the process of digestion, leaving you a net of about 70 grams of protein. So pretty interesting. And you know, that's what you want to lead with. And then number 5 is to self-monitor. So it's like the things that I talked about before. You know, don't just eat something and then go about your day. You know, really pay attention to how your body is responding. I talked about bloating before, you know, water retention and, you know, distended stomach, like that's all the bloating sign. If you are getting that, you've got to track back to what you had, because, you know, bloating is a sign that your body's not digesting it well. Whatever you're eating is just sitting in there, and that's not a good thing. So that'll give you clues as to, you know, some of the things that maybe you should be avoiding. And it could be even quote unquote healthy foods. Just because it's healthy for, you know, your friends or people you know who have great physiques or whatever and swear by it, it may not be healthy for you. You know, younger guys might be able to eat it and get away with it, but sometimes, you know, we can't as we get older. I know with me, I got away with eating a lot of shit when I was younger that I can't even touch now, because it just causes all kinds of digestive problems for me. So the bloating, again, if you feel tired, if your energy's drained, if your mood changes all of a sudden, it's just like your mood drops, or if it starts to affect your sleep, you know, these are things that you want to be looking for. So again, you know, there's no one size fits all when it comes to when it comes to eating to lose fat and build muscle. But there are some things that we can do that will guide us and give us clues as to what our bodies need. Our bodies are all very different. Our hormones change as we get older. Our digestive system changes as we get older, like I mentioned. And so, you know, we have to take more of an individualized approach and look at what works for us, rather than just going by kind of hearsay and, you know, what works for everybody else, or what works for guys who are a lot younger than us and have, you know, healthy metabolisms, or who are in great shape already and aren't dealing with a lot of the issues that we are. All right. So if you're wondering about a little bit more about how to train to build muscle, I can show you what I did and what I've been doing that helped me build 20 pounds of muscle in my 40s. Check this video out for that, and I'll see you there.